Is there anything like in your business as you are going about running, I know you're running multiple businesses that you wish you could have a little bit of help with or another person to talk through some of the this new tech AI stuff because I'm using it as a business owner. Manuel's a developer. He really knows like the ins and outs of the development part of it. So, is there anything like that that you may have questions for, Cecilia?
So, it's funny because I've actually just started diving into it, learning it myself, Gemini and VO and Flow and all that stuff. And it's keeping me quite busy. And I love it, I have to say. I love it. At the beginning, I was like, I adapted Go High Level for to do automations for my business. But quite frankly, although I had somebody else set it up and all this, and I felt kind of like I was under there, as a sub account. And it wasn't much of a price because it was the same if I did it on my own. I was still paying that 90. Are you familiar with it? With
Yes,
Go
yes,
High
yes.
Level? Okay.
I know it. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So like 99 bucks, right? So it would have been the same if I would have done it on my own. But really what's happening is that I haven't really been able to because I want to learn it. Like I'm the type of person like, okay, don't tell me what to do, just tell me how you did
Tell me how. Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because what happens is that, if I need something, I want to understand it. You know what I'm saying? And then understanding it, then I could fix it or add to it. I don't want to depend on somebody to,
100%.
and
Especially
if I
those type
do
of
have
stuff.
somebody, then fine, but I'll be more intelligent about asking the questions instead of, oh, could you do this for me? That's a waste of time. So anyways, I just kind of been doing that, but I don't know. Like, I don't think the automation is just. Uh, I guess I have to kind of go back and really, and it's just been taking a lot of my time, so I haven't done it. Instead, I just been like looking into Gemini and taking all my Excel worksheets, my analysis, and just kind of making them like up leveling them and just give me more analysis, which has been good. I have to say, has been really good. I also want to I think they are able to develop an app. Like I want to do like a check-in, check-out app,
Oh, nice.
and you could do that through them, through Gemini. So,
Oh, wow.
I was,
Gemini, you mean Google Gemini?
yeah, Google Gemini.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah. Like you could do that, and also some other automation stuff. I mean, they're really good at like just kind of walking you through the automations with Zapier. And again, I know that I could do this through Go High Level, but I don't know if I'm going to do Go High Level. If I could just do this easier, and
Yeah,
the amount of money payment, it's not going to be, it's not going to make a difference. It's not a lot. Then, why not, right? And then I'll just have it all under like what I do. So
yeah, I've
that's what I'm
heard
working
of
on.
Go High Level. I never played with it, but I hear it a lot being used as like kind of like what you were saying, setting up automations for the business. But yeah, this is where the whole AI movement is going to shift a lot of that idea, right? Like you just said it, and I've come to the same conclusion. A lot of people are going to say, I can set this automation up myself. Why am I going to pay this service? Right. And yeah, it might take me 5 hours, 10 hours, even 40 hours, but then I'll have it. There's still going to be some cost because the truth is you got to run it somewhere, unless you're going to run it off your computer. And that's possible, but when your computer's off, you can't, it's not going to work. Right. So you're going to have to put it up on some type of server, which will cost something, but again, way cheaper than the 99 on high level. Um, yeah, I think one of the biggest things I see now is even a person like you who you have some technical like you trade, you played around with code, so you have technical chops that most people don't. But even you felt like before those things were outside of your wheelhouse. Like I remember you mentioning,
Yeah.
I don't want to code my own website. I probably could figure it out, but I'd rather just use right? Like the website
Right.
generators. So now with these tools, you could create more custom stuff, whether it's worth it or not. That's going to be the challenge.
Right.
Eventually, like me and Manuel have been playing with Claude Code, and literally it one shots. Like you ask it to do something, and it's done right the first time and process and partly because it will go back on itself and iterate without asking you, so it's not really one shotting it. on your ask, it's basically going back and fixing itself until it's done and done right, which is freaking crazy. And I put up a video last week around what I did there. So understanding where this is all going, I think for you, like if you look at it and you say, what was I using high level for? Like what was my main reason? What were my main automations? Because I think you said that was for the cleaning company or for one of the other companies.
No, this is for the cleaning company. So it's basically, it was a lot of the things that I do it manual. You know, I had created my own templates that I would send my clients like as soon as they book. You know, like if they have filled out the number one, they could book online, so everybody could just book their cleaning online, super easy.
Okay.
But my target market tends to be, you know, they want a quote. Like people are just so used to like hitting that request a quote button. And I was like, well, I don't want to miss those people either. So I kind of gave, you know, the option to do that. So when people fill that form out, basically go high level, you know, it sends out the automation about, you know, let's schedule a call, whatever, this and that. But I don't know, I just felt like some things you can't automate, you know, because
Sure.
it's just you know it's just kind of clunky. It's like, oh man, I shouldn't have sent that, you know. Like I already spoke to them about it, you know, and it becomes all this double work. So but what I was doing before is basically, and still do, I mean, I created some templates like responses, and basically for every situation, you know. So like as soon as I get that lead form, you know, I call. If they don't answer, I send them, you know, a text. If you know, so it just has like a certain workflow, and it has worked for me. You know, I do everything through text,
Okay.
so to me, it's not, you know, I don't need to be emailing. And if it's email, like I see that some people that had gone through, some of my clients that are go high level, they receive the email and they read it, but you know, it's like, you know, most people are answering through text, and that's basically what my business is based out. You know, that I could communicate with clients through text. Um, but that's kind of like how I use it. And that's why I was like, you know, I'm already kind of doing this. But my main thing was like, okay, you know, if I get really busy, I don't want to keep on doing this manually, and I wanted to step away and do other things. And so I hired somebody who would do sales for me and answer the calls, but that didn't work out well. So I'm kind of back and doing it, and I don't mind it. I mean, it's not like my phone is ringing off the hook, but you know, when it does, you know, when it does, I'm okay by answering it, and I close most of them. So, and number one, I don't need. It's not a hard sale because people call us because they need house cleaning. They need our service.
Yeah,
So, you know,
100%.
I'm not like hard selling them. So that's basically my thought about like, okay, maybe I could use a program that would automate this, automate that. You know, my CRM program, which is called Launch 27, it got bought out now by like a payment processor. They're old school, but it does what it needs to do. So I'm not going to replace it. But it sends out like when people book, they'll send out the email confirmation and email reminders. So that's it. I don't need to do that. And then for you know, then I get like I send out a welcome email through Mailchimp. So I'm using all these different things that I know Go High Level could incorporate, which was my whole thing. I'm like, oh, I could put it all together. But then looking at it in the platform itself, it's like, I don't know.
How do you get your leads though? What brings people to you?
So we are, you know, we've been in business for 7 years, so we're like on top of Google. So we come up in
Oh,
the three pack for most of these. I have SEO, you know, that I'm paying a guy like really cheap though, like so, you know, because I used to do my own SEO, but when I started, so just 2 years ago, I started paying a guy to do SEO, like just kind of handle stuff that I couldn't do it anymore, you know.
and when you say
So
SEO, is that like blog posts on your website?
not just that, but like keywording and just like meta tags. I can't even, you know, all this lingo, I guess, that goes through the whole backing of, you know, optimizing your website. But you know, he takes care of that. And he's, like I said, he's really cheap. So and he's local. He's like from Oregon or something. So he's American, so I don't have to deal
Nice.
with anybody outside. But um you know that, and then also I was using LSA, which is Google Local Service Ads,
Okay.
where, you know, kind of like sponsored ads. You know, somebody will put house cleaning, Morris County, New Jersey, and then we will come up on the three pack, but we'll also come up as a sponsored ad. So, but man, they were charging a lot of money for leads. So I stopped that. So just being on the three pack helped. And also
You say three pack,
reviews.
that's the Google front
Uh,
page?
or when you're listed, when your business is listed on top, like when let's say you do house cleaning, Morris County, New Jersey, and you're one of the tops without being sponsored, like your website comes up. So let's say if you wanted to do, for Stack, automate your saving. I don't know, some keywords that you may use, right?
Actually, I'm
Um,
gonna share my screen and we're gonna go through because I think this is one of the biggest challenges of a business. Right? Like, and you have some good insights. I didn't even know that. That's why we
oh,
do
I love
this.
sharing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So, okay. So you said Morris County, not Morris.
Let me see,
uh,
because sometimes I fall out of first place. So let me
Morris County, New Jersey. That
yeah, Morris County, New Jersey, and see what it shows.
these are sponsored.
So you see the sponsor ads, and sometimes he'll say Google guarantee. Those are Google ads.
Yeah.
So, and plus, some people don't even click on those, and those that click on them are price shopping. They're not.
And what's yours? Yours.
Rosy Cleans.
Oh wow, you're in the top.
I am. Oh, nice. Okay.
So, and you said you got to this by with this SEO guy from Oregon?
Yes, I mean, I was there before, but there's more competitors, right? And so I only did what I knew how to do years ago when I started 2017. I looked at some videos, how to optimize my website. I did everything that I could. And then I just kind of let it run and I got really busy. And then afterwards I was like, more people, more players are coming in because my competition is really the franchises like the Molly Maids, the I don't know, the big French, kind of like the McDonald's of the cleaning companies.
Yeah.
And then so it doesn't compete with like the smaller locals, but those smaller locals, if they got it all set up right, they could outrank me. But they don't because I also focus on getting reviews. So if you notice, my Google reviews are 332 right now, and I work hard at getting those. So immediately after a house cleaning is done, like a service is done, I follow up with the client to
Ah, there
see
you
how
go. That makes
the
sense. You got
experience
way more.
was. I call them. If they don't pick up, I send them the text. They do it. If they don't do the review, I send them like a reminder, text messages. Now again, this is why I was saying like automation, like having this automated will be great. But there's sometimes like, clients want to talk to you in between.
Yeah, yeah.
And so let's say something happened and obviously I sort for that before that with text, but sometimes you can't do that with automation. So that's kind of my drawbacks with that. But
No, I mean,
there's
everything you said right now is interesting because when I ran an Airbnb, I ran different Airbnbs for like 10 years. Uh,
mhm.
so, that was my side hustle. So the cleaning part was the main pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
So
did you have individual cleaners that would just come by?
I had
A
like
cleaning
teams
lady?
of people that I could rely on, and I would tell them, "Hey, this is the date that the person is leaving, coming in." So if one wasn't available, I had another person, and that was when I was in New York, and then Dominican Republic, I had the same thing. Uh,
Mm,
and then if something wasn't cleaned the right way, there was an issue like I don't know, you run an Airbnb too, like somebody came in and they saw a hair somewhere. It was like, hey, you got to go back, so that whole thing was a nightmare. But the fact that you have so many good reviews, and then again, even the Airbnb reviews, right, when people leave, you got to basically make sure they do the review, because if they don't do it after a certain amount
right.
of time.
There's still some personal follow-up that's important to do, in order to get, because after all, we're people, right?
Yep.
So like again, we could automate a lot of things, and then some things. I'm sorry, I'm outside and it's a little windy, so you hear all the wind.
Yeah.
Um, but but certain things you can automate, which has been amazing,
That's
But
the
other
thing. I think we are getting to the point where you can make that feel a little as personal as
right,
like you said, you're
right.
text messaging. So
Hmm.
you're writing text. You can train something to sound like you. But again, right now, I think it takes time for it to be able to do what you're saying. But
Hmm.
I think it'll get there. And the fact that you have the experience, because again, leads are the hardest part of I've seen this a lot now that I built Stack and I didn't really think about that at first. I thought
Hmm.
about I was using it for myself and I had some customers based on people I knew. But then when I got to like most of the people I knew about it, and it was like, all right, how am I gonna get new people? So I had to start realizing, okay, my business is not uh SEO friendly right now because crypto is kind of like a bad word in SEO, you know? So I couldn't really use ads and SEO. So I had to figure out other ways to generate leads. So creating content and stuff like that was mine. But any business, what I tell them now is start there. Like you can have the best business, best idea in the world, but if you're not getting any leads, it's you're not making any money. So you got to think of that first. So the fact that you already had the business and you learned this over time, you've been at business for a while, but now what's happening is this kind of stuff they're saying is going away because people barely search using Google. Well, they're saying that the percentage of people that use Google is starting to shrink at like a very high rate because they're putting it in ChatGPT. So what I was gonna do right now is see what happens if I put it in ChatGPT. See what you get. Cause this I had a customer a few weeks ago that got on a call with me for Stack and he said he found me on ChatGPT. And I was like, holy shit. Because again, I told you the crypto world is really hard to rank.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, that's might be oh look at you, number three. Uh,
Really? Oh, nice. I have to check
that's
out your screen. Let
really
me see.
nice.
Oh, that's nice.
And Mary
So
Maid, you said is like a McDonald's type. McDonald's, these are like McDonald's level.
that is what the
40
May Pro.
years. Yeah, look, 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah, the May Pros, Molly Maids. Let me look at your screen. Hold on. Yeah, Molly Maids and May Pros, they've been there around forever. Even the cleaning authority. But, compared to like those, oh, I got another review. Nice. That must have happened just now. Um, and so the other thing too is Perplexity.ai. Actually
Yeah,
somebody
that's
told
straight
me
up a search one. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
never heard of Perplexity prior to that. And then somebody, oh, I found you on Perplexity. I'm like, what is that?
Okay, okay,
Or
that's good. Yeah.
it got me looking. And then so I started looking at Perplexity. I started looking at everything basically. And then see how I come up. So I'm using their description and some of the words that they use to describe my company. We happen to be really amazing, especially in Gemini. I incorporate that and I just updated my website today, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. So
So like,
when you do the keywords, because this is important, like for the future, like to show up on the search engines, not just Google, the AI one is gonna be really fucking important. So what do you
okay.
update if you don't mind? Like I would love to know what
Sure.
stuff.
So number one, this you see this little picture. Well, let me show you. That is the lead form right there. See instant price and book online or call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so you put in number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and your frequency, and you could see the price already. You don't even have to put your name, but some people
It's
do.
pretty cool. That's high level that does that, or you
No, this is actually Convert Labs, which is the one that I'm using, the CRM that I'm using for the booking for my Huntsville location. So I
got
kind of incorporated in New Jersey because I was like, man, I couldn't get anybody to do this little lead form for me, but they can. So I was like, hey, could you do it for my other company? And they did it. So
nice.
anyway, and then if you scroll down just a little further, there's a little button that says get a quote. Or on the side, on the right hand side, I'm sorry, go up a little bit on
Oh,
the right
right
hand
here.
side. You see, so if you click on that, I still tell them like, hey, get your instant quote here, like get your instant price.
Uh,
But if you don't want to, fill in the form. And this is the go high level form.
got it.
So
Got
people fill this out and then I get a notification through go high level, hey, somebody just filled this out.
and then go high level emails you or emails your
Yeah,
team.
it will send us a notification through text or email, however we have it set up. I prefer text because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Texas
yeah,
has a higher open rate, like by a lot,
yeah,
like
exactly.
99%.
So
Um,
anyway, if you go back to the home page, so scroll down through a little bit. So I added these three little icons here that comes from my Huntsville location page, which I feel it's clean. It still says Huntsville there on Book Online, but I don't know if nobody's going to notice that. But if you scroll down more towards the bottom, Mine was a little bit more text heavy because of SEO reasons, but I still could do that text heavy, but I didn't want to do it here,
Okay.
you know. So I saw those three little icons. I am like a 5-star review. These are all true. But I
Yep.
saw it on somebody's website and I was like, dude, I could put this on my website. So I copied the image. So this is an image that I put on Squarespace.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's all one. So if you scroll down to a little bit more, and that's it. Just that little line on top. It's not.
This one?
Doesn't look like it's all that whole little paragraph. It doesn't look like it's centered. I have to check that out. Anyway, so that little paragraph right there is like it's like Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity. They gave me like some great wording describing my company. So what I did, I kind of shortened it, and then I just kind of put with the most important things that people will read right away. Instant booking, more scan. I mean, I don't
And
know.
what? So your
I'm
keywords are
saying that, but I
Morris
don't know.
County. What are your keywords? Rosie Clean? No, because clean's
House cleaning,
house cleaning, Morris
Morris
County, you said?
County, Huntsville, instant booking,
Instant booking. So do you have
fleet.
four or you have more?
Oh well, I have a lot. Like so
No?
that my SEO guy actually builds up this keywords, so I have house cleaning, Morris County. The county itself is kind of like, like New York City, right? New York or the boroughs, like you got Manhattan, Brooklyn, so you gotta also, so if anybody puts, let's say, Morris County, it's a county, but like within that county is Morristown. So somebody looks for house cleaning Morristown, then I show up there. Not just house
Got it.
cleaning, but home cleaning, like anything you could think of that's
Sure,
related to.
sure, sure. No, this is important stuff. Like
Yeah.
I started playing with it years ago, but I didn't take it as serious as I should have. I actually have a friend, Omar, Neki is a master at this SEO stuff. Um,
Yeah, man. Grab your people that know all this stuff and let them do it for you. Because it'll take a little time if you don't have that time to invest in doing it. I have the time to do it because I do have my VA, that's doing all the back end work of like my rescheduling, my virtual assistants, if they had like rescheduling and stuff, which happens a lot, so she's constantly communicating with the clients and I get the calls. But so I have some time, that I could do.
Sure. That's what I did in my Dominican Republic place. I learned my lesson and I wasn't local there, so I wasn't gonna be able to deal with the clients as they calling and stuff. So I found a person that was like a middle person that everybody just
Right.
dealt with them. She answered, she got and she just got like a fee per booking. Uh
Right.
so
Yeah, exactly. So you just pay them, and my VA is happy. I'm about to, buy her a new computer and stuff. So these
yeah.
pictures, if you notice, it's like they're not of dirty toilets. They're not of like, I don't know. Maybe you guys could tell me what does it exude? Like, what does this tell you about the cleaning company?
So to me, it looked when I first saw the first one, of course, let's go back all the way to the top. Um That looks good. It's definitely, the funny thing is with the pearls, like
Mad pink.
Petri.
Hey,
What you
this is
gonna
where
say?
my fashion comes in. All right, I'm
Omar, you're
always
gonna say something?
FIT, so
Yeah, I was like, that should look mad pink.
I was looking at that's your head, but I was like, oh, that's the glove.
It's a
that's
Uh,
glove,
hilarious.
okay.
That's hilarious.
But it doesn't look like
uh,
a hand, it doesn't look like the arm.
yeah, yeah.
All right, guys. Don't get there,
Oh,
but I get
lovely.
it. Okay, I see it now.
Um, Move in, move out. That's cool. So yeah, that makes sense. I would say this image may not convey moving as much to me.
Right.
It looked like
Right.
high fashion,
They
luxury
all do.
furniture.
They all do. They all do. You
Yeah.
know why? Because all my competitors are showing you boxes and dirty toilets.
Ah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay.
You know what I'm saying? And they're
Makes
used
sense.
to seeing that. But what's my keyword? My keyword here is post construction cleaning. It's move out cleaning.
Now that
If
makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
you
I
Why
know
not
what I'm
show like
saying?
a photo of like a living room or a bedroom, being that I just moved out myself like 2 months ago?
Right. Because everybody else is doing that. And I
Mm.
really don't want to do that. That's why I'm focusing on keywords and really, I mean, if you click on it, you'll see it, you'll see pictures of our work and stuff. But initially, like for example, do the house cleaning one. Oh, this is the online booking form, by the way. So yeah, do house cleaning. No, I'm sorry, not the book now, but click on the link, the blue, yeah. So, another keyword, house cleaning services, Morris County. They could call or text. Now this is more text heavy, right? But I still include that little lead form that people can still see it, you
Yeah, it's
know.
a nice lead form. That's pretty cool that it would change the price live. That's nice.
And then also some names of different towns. So that's for SEO reasons. And then just kind of like, why hire this? You know, why do this? You know. Um,
Yeah, the
so
truth
kind of like
is,
a blog kind of form, but gives you that information, you know. But then we also have a checklist, a cleaning checklist on the homepage. So if you go back to the homepage, um, I try to put everything on just the one thing here, but like how it works, right? A little bit about us. What are the cleaning services? We also do home organizing and what we specialize in, and then the ultimate cleaning check. So you know exactly what to do.
mm,
So these are things that if you go to any random house cleaning company in Morris County, they're not going to show you this. They'll show you some of it, but they're not going to be like as transparent. So if you keep on scrolling down, I even say things that we do not do for the safety of our team. So I make sure like when I talk to somebody, I show them this list so they could visually, like you are looking at it and
mm-hmm,
seeing the stuff that we do not do. Now the client feels like, oh man, transparency, right? I
mm-hmm.
know, they can follow this. If anything happens, I know they got my back. I don't charge people until after the cleaning is completed, but when they book online, they have to put in their credit card to secure their booking. Kind of like with everything, right? But yeah, so there's a lot of spacing, and this is Squarespace, so I don't know how to fix
Yeah,
all that
yes,
spacing
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
have
say,
to look into that. It's just a lot of spacing.
but the truth is, I'll tell you, what I was gonna say is the truth is nobody really reads a full website like
No,
that.
they're
It's
not.
really for SEO mostly. And now
Mhm.
where everything is heading is what you're doing here, which is everything is kind of in the front. Like also
Yeah.
what's starting to happen, and we're looking into this is there's this new term called MCP, meaning model context protocol. So what it is the AIs, there's going to be able to be a chatbot on your site, just like ChatGPT, where it's just like, okay, I want to book this, and you type it in, and it knows your website's information, and it
Yeah,
basically
we know
goes back
that.
and forth. So that's going to become a thing too. You're going to start seeing that a lot. But again,
Mhm.
you're really good with SEO. The fact that you come up in Google and in ChatGPT, you're positioned in a good way for leads. Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's awesome.
The other thing that I'm using and I'm testing is the AI, like Rosie AI. So basically it's like I tried that chat AI, and it was okay. It wasn't getting everything. I was testing and testing. It wasn't getting everything that I needed it to do. But
Okay.
now with my voice AI, it wasn't doing this for a while, but now it could do it. It could actually give you the quote like online. So
You
if
could
you call a
you
certain
speak to it.
number, it's like if there's not a number like that 862 number is my Google Voice number, but
Okay.
I have a testing number that when if I turn it on, like see, I only use Google Voice. There's other like online programs like like OpenAI is one of them, right? Which is not
Yeah,
OpenAI, come on,
I
Open.
have one. I have a phone line. Actually, I can show you something real quick. Let me see if it's here. I just did some dumb stuff and lost all my logins.
Oh no.
So I'm trying to see if I can get back into. But basically, I created a phone line that if you call, I'm not gonna be able to get in today, but I'll call the number and show you. Basically, you call and you through ChatGPT, I'll show you. You can you can create a custom GPT. So you see how it says my GPT's create.
Hmm.
So what you do here is you basically take all the documents from your website and you make a PDF, and then you upload the PDF to this, and then you go to 11labs.io.
Wait, how do you do the PDF? Do you just copy paste into a PDF doc? Or
So you
does it
could
scan it
basically
for you?
in ChatGPT will export a PDF for you. Like you can say, okay, so you
But how
go,
do you scrub your site? Like how would she scrub her site and put that info into a PDF? Would ChatGPT
so
do it for her?
possible is a good question. Let's see.
Actually, Notebook LM, it's another
Oh,
Google
that.
thing. Notebook
Yep, yep,
LM
yep.
does almost similar, where it
Mhm.
actually scrapes your whole site, or you could even put your own documents. Let's say you
So
have the copy of your site on, you could upload it.
let me try to get into this one. I think this is where I have it. Let's see. Yes. Okay. All right. So check this out. If we go to conversational AI agents and see, I got the Stack It AI agent. So I'll show you. I basically have a bunch of PDFs based on the knowledge base, based on every time I have phone calls with customers, I get the text file and then I put it in a PDF and I keep growing the PDF as a knowledge base. And then when you put them all in here and then look, test the AI agent, right? Watch this. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but
Welcome to Stack. Thanks for calling. I'm the Stack at AI Helper Agent, here to help you understand how Stack works and how it can grow your wealth while managing expenses. If you'd like to know more about how Stack works, say, how does Stack work?
so
For details on
how,
you're ready.
how does Stack work?
Stack is a decentralized finance platform designed to help you build wealth by combining everyday spending with long-term investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum. You deposit funds, typically USDC, and Stack automatically invests it in Bitcoin and Ethereum
You
over
all know
time.
how it works, but basically the overall idea is you can give it whatever information you want, and I what I did was
Your
I
mic dropped off. It's low.
oh, hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can. There you go.
All right. So, and then what you can do is you can add a phone number to it. Where did I do that at? Oh yeah, look right here. So I went to what was the website?
You can use Twilio to get a
Twilio.
phone. Yeah.
Twilio. And I bought a number that's like, I know you guys are my age or close. Remember like the 188 whatever words, you'll have a word. So this
Like
says this is
jump.
781 stack it. So I can say, hey, call 781 stack it and you'll learn more. Again, nobody really uses it. And it shows you the call history. And when somebody calls, you can listen to it. So let's see what the
Welcome to Stack. Thanks for calling. I'm the Stack at AI Helper Agent, here to help you understand how Stack works and how it can grow your wealth while managing expenses.
Well, actually, that was
If
me
you'd
right now. That was mine. All right, let's see the last one.
Welcome to Stack.
Good
It
job.
sounds too good to be true. How does it work?
Oh, this is me
What's the plan?
testing.
There's always
So basically, what I was trying to do was I was trying to train a model to sound like my voice instead of the voices you get to choose from. So I was testing that out. But what you're saying, Google does the same thing you're saying? Like you could just call Google and it has a voice.
So, well, what it does, well, Notebook LM is something else different, but the Rosie AI is actually set up by this girl called Amber Jones. She's really cool. You could find her clips online on YouTube. That's how I found her. Basically, she did for service companies, like, when people don't have time to pick up their own phone because they're the ones doing the work. You see,
Mhm.
my goal was I didn't want to answer the phone. I'm not cleaning or anything. I just don't want to answer the phone, right? I have other things to do. So basically is people call the number and say, hey, hi, this is Rosie, how could I help you, how many bedrooms and bathrooms, so it kind of acts like me.
Yeah, 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 of course.
Now it could give you a quote. It's like, oh, okay, you have a 3-bedroom home, 2 bathrooms, a dog, you want 5 windows, a cleaning basement. That's going to be $500. Would you like to
Does
go
that
forward and book it? And
what service? It does it through Notebook LLM?
No, it doesn't do it through Notebook LM. It's something that she uses. I'm not sure what she uses. I have to ask her what it is.
Yeah, that'll be
But
it.
it's if we actually, let me see if I could find something like recorded or something. Probably not. But anyway, the thing is, I'm testing it right now as we go, and maybe I'll give you guys a number, and you guys could play around with it and let
Yeah,
me know
yeah, yeah. I would love to
how it
test that.
worked for you. That would be amazing. Um, as a matter of fact, I think I have the number, and you could probably call it on your own time and
Okay,
use your own house configurations.
okay,
Just
okay.
say that you're located somewhere in
Morris County, New
yeah,
Jersey.
Morris County. Just pick the actual town, like a Morristown or whatever. I'll include it here in the chat. But it's pretty cool. So, but you see, the thing is, what I've been I've been facing, this is before it actually did the quote, like it was more gathering information, but people were not used to it.
I
So my
know.
Morris County people are not used to it, you know? So I'm like, but it will get there. You know what I'm saying? So
100%. Like right now, this is way early, so they got ones now that can call people for you, and nobody even they can't even recognize that it's a person.
yes.
It's not a person. So it's early. It's early. That's why I'm playing around with this stuff. Nobody's gonna call. I know I was more using it as marketing. I had did it because I saw it was possible, and I was just making a joke. I started tweeting it. And then literally like a few weeks later, ChatGPT did the same thing. I think they have like a whatever number ChatGPT you could call. And I was like, oh shit, they did the same thing. But again, we are far from that. But I do see the overall idea here is you got to look at your business, and you just said it. I don't want to be on the phone talking to people that call, right? So for you got to figure out what can AI do to limit the things I don't want to do. So what I'm really I'm getting really good at figuring out, okay, I do I like to do the creative stuff. I like to think through the innovation stuff that we're working on. Like I want to start making ads because I went to school for animation, so I'm like that that's what I wanted to do. So if I could do animation for my own company, that's really what I think I want to be doing along with the high level thinking. Everything else, I'm gonna figure out how to use AI to do or people to do. First AI.
Exactly.
Right? Right. So,
Yes,
so
exactly.
that's
Exactly.
how I think everybody's gonna start thinking. And this is partly why I'm worried about jobs, right? Because if you think about it, a lot of what we said, these used to be jobs. Like even the phone number you have, I was paying a person to do that. And now if I could, that's why I was like, wait, I want to know what you were using. Because if I could, that was one of the worst parts of having an Airbnb, which was when those people disappear and stuff like that, and they're not good in the beginning. Till you find a good one, that's the tough part because people you lose bookings because of the person you have speaking. So if you know 24/7, this person's gonna be available, gonna do it the right way, that's huge. And then if you could automate the end where you kind of harass them to give you the review, Airbnb becomes a little more easier, but it's still there's other problems. But at least for where I did it. So the overall idea is every business is gonna look at this and say, okay, what do I need? And what did I used to need people for that I don't anymore? And that list is growing every day. And that's the scary part of this shit
It
because
is.
I
But like,
literally
I'll give you an
developed.
example. Like, I still need my virtual assistant because she, when people text, during like, oh, I want to reschedule my cleaning tomorrow, you know.
Mhm.
So what is the AI going to do? Possibly look at the schedule and try to reschedule it for them? Yes, it's not there yet,
Not that
but
yet, but
Elaine could easily just send them a text and say, and she's from the Philippines. Her accent is not good at all, but she's got
she
good
tries
grammar. She's got good grammar, and she uses my templates because I already have it all written out. You know what
100%.
I'm saying? All
That
she's
was the
got to
same
do,
thing. My DR
yeah,
person
cut and
didn't speak
paste.
English well. I had an Excel file which was like, if they say this, say that, copy paste because it was rare that people wanted to talk. So 100%.
Yeah, and you just tweak it to whatever situation, and that's how it works, and it's immediate. Like she's really hands-on and really just on time, and but one day ChatGPT will, probably or not Chat, but AI will probably go there, and a lot of people like some of my friends in cleaning business using AI. Also, it's like, oh, I don't have a virtual assistant anymore because I set up ChatGPT to do everything. So I'm like, I'm okay with having my
No, I
virtual.
think I think when you have a person like that in the Philippines, it's good to have a person that, another person that can look over things because the AI is not, like you said, it's not perfect yet. So there's always going to be something that, like me, I have multiple developers that look over what the AI does. But what we are seeing now is that a lot more of the tasks, the AI is able to do a first version of it. So that means a lot more code is being written by AI than my people, right? And then my people are mostly reviewing and saying, yeah, that's right, or no, that's wrong. Here's why it's wrong. Let me fix it. So as I see that, I
Yeah.
just like, woo, this stuff is getting crazy. And the fact that I was able to make some in like 20 minutes that would have taken months when I
Yeah.
was a developer, I was like, whoa, this is
Well,
going
I
to
think
a crazy
it's
place.
still like 90% probably AI and 10% you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, because you still have to check it, right? So
Definitely.
if you're going to be all constantly checking your AI, which will get there, but you still got to be involved, to me, that's why I'm like, okay, I'm okay with my person right now, and she's been with me since like 4 years ago now.
Wow, wow,
So
wow. That's good though. That's good. Like, yeah, my team, I've had people on my team for almost 2 years now. I do mostly remote. This is another issue I see being in the United States. I was just talking to somebody about this because he's a project manager. He hasn't been able to find work in multiple years now. He's like, dude, this is bad. And he was like one of the highest level people I knew in project management. And basically what I was telling him is, look, this is the issue you have now. You have AI is competing with you because again, now there's an AI that will read every Slack message in a company and send that to the CEO as a here's the list of problems you need to deal with based on all the conversations happening in Slack. That used to be a project manager or you know what I mean? That used to be the stuff that they would do. And I told him about that. He didn't know about that one. And second is like you just said, if I can get a person in the Philippines, why would I get somebody in the United States and pay them 1,000 times more? Like, right? So
exactly.
it's like we have this globalization at the same time as technology. This is coming up on a scary ass time, but at the same time, this is why I'm even doing these kind of calls where I'm like, look, what could I do to help current entrepreneurs take advantage of this and not get destroyed by it? Because even like Omar and you, Derek, you guys are in the design world. Like Omar, you're a designer. Derek is building a sneaker brand, a luxury sneaker brand. That's kind of designer. You got some manufacturing there. Omar, you're more on the actual design of it all. What I see now is why, well, you got to figure out why people are going to want to use your company or you specifically. And what I think is going to, and this is what I told the project manager guy. I was like, I think we're going to a place where you're going to have to come in and say, here's the type of AI agents I have working with me. So I can do more work. Let me turn off something. Something's killing my let me stop sharing. Here's what I'm able to do that other people can't do because I'm managing this team of agents. So when you get me, you get a team. And here's what my team does. And it's not before, like look at what I was doing before Stack was I had a company called Mass Ideation, which was mostly me. People would come to me and they would say, hey, Miguel, we need this built, whatever that was. And I would say, all right, I gotta get this type of person, I gotta get this type of person, I gotta get this type of person. So I would go out, ask everybody, are you available? Are you available? Are you available? The people would tell me, yeah, I'm available. And then I would say, all right, it's gonna cost you this much. Now, instead of going out and reaching out to those people, I would have AI agents that I don't have to ask, are they available? So people are going to come and say, okay, Miguel, I want this done because I like the way your company does things, but my AI agents may be supported by some team members. Again, but team members leave, right? So the overall idea is this is going to make entrepreneurship, I think, easier over time. Right now, we're not there. So I think and then if you look at the whole gigification, you ever heard that? Where it's like everything's becoming a gig economy. Um, okay. Um, at some point it's called, can we discuss where yeah, it's going 1, 2, 3, 5 years. Yeah, so the gig so okay, I just got that question. Perfect timing. Gigification meaning right now, if you look at it, there's less and less full-time jobs, right? Especially in the United States. But if you start to look at this, and there's all kind of charts, I could find them eventually, but there's all kind of charts showing that full-time jobs are going down slowly, and now all these extra factors are making it go faster. So people are doing things like Uber. Um, what was the one that you shop for people? I forgot, but
Instacart.
Instacart, stuff like that. Like I know a guy who graduated from Harvard who's doing Instacart because he can't find a job. And I'm like, wow, that's scary, right? And but again, that's just that person can do Instacart, Uber, and maybe run a Shopify store now and cover his bills, maybe. So that's like instead of looking for a full-time job, he's looking for this gig economy kind of stuff that he could do. Um, so that's where what I think is happening. One, two, right now is happening is you're seeing a lot of layoffs. The big companies laying off thousands of people. What they're starting to do is they're starting to say, let's lower the amount of people we have. Let's check this AI thing and then see how many we have to hire back. Right. So in the next 1 to 2 years, that's what I see happening. You already see it started happening like 2023, actually. When ChatGPT dropped, they started talking to OpenAI started talking to all the companies and they started doing enterprise deals with them. So they were getting like the best models early. So those companies were the first ones to be like, all right, dropping people, and we're gonna figure out how many we actually have to hire back. So, like, if they fired 7,000 people, they might now need to hire back 500. But what happens to those 6,500 people? Because all the companies are doing this. So that's where I say entrepreneurship is almost not going to be a choice because if there's not as many gigs, full-time gigs, you're gonna have to do the Instacarts, and then even that's gonna start to get flooded. Because if
See,
there's
this is where I was trying to get answers to, right? Because
Mhm.
what's going to happen is, so in a scenario where they laid off 6,000 people, and they're going to rehire 500, so you have those 5,500 people, right? There's only a certain amount of gigs that you can take, and it's not a if everyone is firing that many people, the money is not going to be flowing. So what actually is going to be happening? So it's like a complex thing, right?
Yep,
It's so we have 5,500 people out of work,
yep.
trying to do Instacart and Uber, and so now there are way too many people doing Instacart and Uber, and
Yeah, yeah.
not enough people that could afford to Uber or Instacart.
Yeah, and the
Then
truth
you
is
have
they're not gonna
health
make the
insurance
same.
is tied to your job, so you have all those
uh,
people with no health insurance, and they're cutting services as we speak. So I'm trying to just get an idea of what the next couple of years are gonna look like.
this
It
is
looks
this is
like
the scary part. That there's top guys in the fucking AI world. I just made a video. I'm posted maybe tomorrow or today. I was watching the top guy from OpenAI a few years ago. He left OpenAI, but he was at a college thing talking. He was basically saying that this shit is gonna do every job because he said, look, if a person with a brain is needed to do a job, AI is a brain. That's what it is. So it's just a smarter brain. Now it's gonna have a body. It's gonna have. So the to answer your question is nobody fucking knows. But this is one thing that I've been studying very hard, and this is why I got so into finance. There's only three ways to make money in this world: wages, property, and government transfers. Wages are jobs. Property are investments. That doesn't mean just real estate. That means real estate, stocks, bonds, crypto. So people who own property have a revenue stream from that property. And I don't mean you live in a house. I mean you have a house that makes you money, right?
hmm
Then you have government transfers, which is what during COVID, they dropped money in people's bank accounts because nobody was working, right? So those are the only three ways you make money. So we start looking at the wages, and wages are starting to be like kind of hard for people to get jobs. Now you only got two options: government transfers and property. So my thought years ago was I'm not going to hope the government treats me as a minority the right way when they need to start putting out this COVID type money.
hmm
I was like, I gotta understand finance. That's the only thing that I think can survive this. So if you have stocks, bonds, crypto, real estate, when the jobs go away, you might be fucked with real estate that people can't pay for, right? That's what happened during COVID, where people weren't paying their rent. So the
Yeah, that's why I
people
wouldn't want to
weren't,
do an investment property right now because
yeah,
I'm
right.
like, people are not going to be employed, so you're not
So
going to
yeah,
get paid.
exactly. So you look at that property of the properties as real estate. That one I wouldn't do, and that's why I sold my Airbnb. Same thought. Then you look at stocks and bonds. Stock, what happens when the open AI starts to eat up some of these other companies that are part of your stock portfolio, and your stock portfolio may take a dive because a certain company is just murdered. Like if you look at what Google, Google has this, Google started all this chat GPT. Actually, GPT, Google invented the GPT, but they never made the chat part like OpenAI did. So OpenAI came and is fucking eating part of Google, which nobody would have ever thought was possible. So stocks, there's an issue with stocks that we don't know which stocks are going to do good. So S&P 500 may be the smart move, but you see a lot of people saying the S&P 500 may not return 7% for the next 10 years. You see that a lot. Like a lot of the financial advisor type people, BlackRock's, all
Hmm.
of them, they say that, right? So that's stocks. Now look at bonds. The whole reason the world is in a fucked up spot right now is because of bonds, because the interest rate on bonds is being fucked up because they're printing up more money. So people are like, you guys are not paying your debt back and you're printing up more money. So bonds in the United States, which used to be like the best thing you can do, people are selling them at a high rate, and that's part of the whole problem here. So bonds
Hmm.
bad. But then I look at crypto and I'm like, all right, it's the new kid in town. Yeah, it's volatile. There's a lot of stuff being built on it right now. It's very, very, very early. It's risky, but to me, it's the least risky out of the properties. So that's why I got really into figuring it out. Then I look at government transfers, and that's what they call UBI, Universal Basic Income, right? And what you have to hope is the government wants to give people enough to actually live a good life. And one of the questions somebody came up with that I hadn't thought of is how do they decide how much to give people? Because if you were already working a job where you were making 250 and you had like a house and multiple cars, and now you get $1,000 a month and I get $1,000 a month, you're fucked. I'm fucked too, but you're more fucked, right? So
Hmm.
how is that gonna work? Nobody can answer this. And
Yeah, and
the
it's
truth
something that
is,
you can't rely on that because they're snatching away things that were the bedrock of
of
the country.
society, no doubt.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we
They're snatching those things away now, so we can't trust the government to kind of look out for the citizens at this
A
point.
hundred percent. And that alarm is because I got a call at one. So I'll finish this by saying, look, what I think is entrepreneurship is not even an option right now because when we start figuring out this transition, there's everybody's gonna have to figure out how to make money in whatever environment is the environment that we're in. It's if you can't do the normal thing of, well, I filled out forms to get a job and nobody's hiring me. I guess I can't make money. No, entrepreneurship is about figuring out problems you could solve that create value where people are willing to pay you for that value. That's what the point of entrepreneurship is. So I think people need to right now start to learning that skill because as the wages start to become harder and harder to get, you're going to have to figure that out. And then you need to put the money in property you think is going, and everybody got to make that decision for themselves. Property you think is going to grow faster than the rate of inflation. And that's where I'm such a psychopath with Bitcoin. And I think, and Ethereum, I think everything I'm talking about is being built on Ethereum. So, Bitcoin and Ethereum is kind of like the safest bet in my opinion, not financial advice. But the way I look at it is that. And the fact that you could borrow to get more of it and all that stuff is just crazy. So that's why, like, I'm literally about to start a series on videos that like put real estate against crypto and show because real estate is this thing where everybody's like, oh yeah, real estate, real estate. Dude, Bitcoin destroys real estate. And if you look, Airbnb, check this out. Airbnb is right now considering buying Bitcoin. Why do you think they chose to buy Bitcoin over real estate when you are a real estate company?
No,
Right?
that's easy. That's because everyone's jumping on the MicroStrategy bandwagon, dude. Don't think too deeply into that. Everybody wants to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet to raise their
The
uh
value?
Yeah, sorry, yes, their evaluation. Everybody's doing it,
But
man.
what?
GameStop is doing it. You know,
Yeah,
like,
but at the same time, if you're looking for a store value to put money in,
but they're not a, but I
you
don't think
saying they're gonna
Airbnb,
leverage it
but
and keep
Airbnb
buying
is not
more?
a, they're not a landlord. They're not a mega landlord. They have you and me as landlords. They're just the facilitators.
So they're
So for
mostly
them to like,
diversifying. They're diversifying.
right. So for them to like have Bitcoin on their balance sheet is just for valuation and to protect themselves. You know, like if again, like you said, right? If people maybe they might have information as what you and Derek said, where people are starting to like not have as many rental properties on their service as they want to let up. So if that news gets out, what's their valuation going to be? Their stock is going to dump. So they're
Mm,
probably hedging their bets right now with Bitcoin.
that makes
And
a lot
again,
of
I
sense.
think
That makes a
and
lot
like
of
a
sense.
lot of other companies are playing this Bitcoin leverage because of micro strategy.
That makes a
Um,
lot of sense. Like diversify because if the market,
yeah,
because real estate, which is your fucking bread and butter, even though
right.
you're not.
Yeah, they're not a landlord, dude. They're just like
Yeah.
again, they're a service. They're like, like Uber. Uber's not a taxi service. I mean, they are, but they require me and you to be have our
Oh,
own
but look at
cars, have
check
our
this
own
out. Look at
shit.
the difference between Uber. Uber just did a deal with Waymo. You know what Waymo
Yeah,
is?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
These
That's the
like
self-driving
driverless
cars,
cars.
right?
yep.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah, they're all
they
over
just
California. They're crazy.
they're in Texas too. When I went to Texas, they were there. Now I didn't see any, but the driver that drove me around,
Nah, dude.
he was like,
California,
"Yeah."
they're everywhere, bro. I was in LA
So
just 2 weeks ago. They're everywhere.
Uber just bought like 1 million of them. So
Yeah,
think about that,
yeah.
right? They're like, yeah, we don't own cars. Well, now they're gonna own cars because they're gonna
Hmm.
fucking not need to pay the person in the car,
Yep,
and they're
exactly.
gonna make way
That's going to
more
be
money.
interesting to watch because I don't know if I don't know if the masses are going to be comfortable driving, like
So,
getting driven by those. And
yo, there's already a whole bunch of TikTok videos of people getting in them and like, oh my God, I never want to
Well,
drive. And
that's kind of like that's what every new technology, right? We've all been through with the internet, the dial-up. I mean, no one put their credit card information on the internet
yeah,
10, 20 years ago.
over time, it's gonna be safer than a fucking
Yeah, it's gonna be
psychopath
better.
that could
Like
be fucking trying to driving drunk and or try to do something to you in the car.
I think Tesla was supposed to be it, but Tesla was expensive. Like Tesla's a far
Yeah.
ahead of the curve on a lot of this automation stuff.
So,
But I think
guys, I'm
Waymo
so
came in and pulled the rug under them.
So I gotta end this. I got a 1 o'clock important call. So thank you guys for the community call.
yep,
Yep.
Hit me up with some of these questions during the week too. Like in
bet.
the community too, would be cool to like get this conversation going in there as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And if there's anything I can help with, let me know too. All right, guys. Peace.